competition. They can be in competition for resources, inheritance, beauty, attention, maybe who, you know, what you get out of the relationship in the first place. And those were all reasons to kind of do that. So she focused on one kid to be more of a reflection of herself, and made me and my other sibling start having to conform to more of her needs. And one of my siblings became more of her caretaker, kind of like a personal assistant. She kind of had her doing all this housework, which kind of reflected her. And then with me, she had me kind of, she just kind of like yelled at me all the time and used me like as a buffer for her anger and stuff and those types of emotional needs that she had. So point is, I've spent a lot of time in my life sometimes wondering, like, why did I get scapegoated? What was wrong with me? What could I have done better? And it really had nothing to do with that. It all had to do with a power struggle. When I was little, the sibling of mine that became the golden child later for my mom and maintained it, she was getting physically abused a lot because she had trouble learning. She actually would have trouble paying attention, things like that. It improved when she got older, but that was what she had trouble with. So of course I learned survival in this house. The biggest thing that was important was your academics and showing up perfect and good behavior report from school. So of course I focused on that. And it was valued for a certain period of time, and then at another period of time it became devalued by her and was a reason to attack and take me down. And my other sibling, who was really smart too, she was so smart that she didn't need anyone to necessarily motivate her. She was already pretty motivated. We all were, honestly. Everyone in the house was smart. It was just like me and the youngest one were kind of the ones that were put on that pedestal for a while. The last thing that I forgot to mention is, once she has knocked over all of the kids from that status and there's no longer a golden child for my dad, now for him to have anyone on a pedestal, it would just be her. Just her as the mom. And she becomes kind of like, she's not a golden child because she's not expected to reflect him exactly, because she's an adult, she has her own role, but she gets to be the person that he holds on the pedestal, the person that he goes to if he has any problems with us, and the person that he can like share his frustration with. So just keep in mind with narcissistic relationships, it's always there's always a function to what's happening, and there's usually things going on in the hierarchy that you're not aware of. And there's different ways that my mom really benefited from knocking out scapegoats or knocking out golden children and creating more scapegoats, where she was able to get trips out of it. She was able to get money saved out of it, different things. When it comes to narcissists, they have a very, very hard time with accountability. So there were different situations where instead of blaming my mom for something, my dad would blame one of us for something. So for instance, like, she said that we needed to go on this pilgrimage because of something one of my siblings had done. Really, she just wants to go on the pilgrimage, and she's using one of the kids as leverage. That's how scapegoating helped her a bit. And he was on the plane there and literally looked at my sibling and was like, the whole reason why we have to do this trip is because of you. Instead of taking out his frustration on my mom because he doesn't want to go on this trip, or communicate healthily with my mom that he doesn't want to go on this trip, he took it out on the child. Of course, with that trip, my mom can't go without a man like her brother or her husband to do it. Or like another example, when I was in college, I did not ever come up to them first and go, I think I need to drop out of school. That wasn't me. Like, I would just obey whatever they told me. So my parents, both of them were pushing for me to get out of the school. My mom was pushing my dad and being like, she needs to leave. She doesn't like it there. That's what's causing all her stress. That's why she's having all these stress symptoms. She needs to come back home. And then my dad was coming up to me and going, he said, we could waste more money on that school, or you could just leave now, or we could pay more money. And so then when I finally did it, I followed orders. I followed what they told me to do. Then they stepped back and they were like, oh my God, I can't believe she did that. And he took out whatever frustration he had about it on me directly. oh, you listen too much to what other people are telling you, and instead of where it actually belonged, which was within his conflict with his wife, who didn't want me there, and within him, because he was also the person who said, get out of there. And also, it's effectively a way for him to take away accountability from himself. As children, we have no ability to tell our parents what to do. I couldn't go talk to my mom, or my sibling couldn't go talk to my mom and be like, I don't want to go on this trip, we're not going. That's something him as an adult can do, have that conversation or figure out a way for her to do it where he doesn't have to go. You know what I mean? So it's not, it was like he would deflect and throw on my mom, but then he also liked to throw and deflect it on us as well. And if he sat there and he was too critical of my mom's is more powerful than a child. And so especially when you have these narcissists that are kind of essentially cowards, they'll take it out on the person that really has no power in the situation. Hope that helps. And if you are on your journey of healing, just keep in mind that these are people and everything kind of had a function in that house, and you don't need to fit that role anymore, and it has nothing to do with your own strengths or your unique gifts.